If you hear a hissing noise in the background, I'm going to apologize now. That is a little space heater, little propane space heater I've got going because it's a whopping 30 degrees in my shop right now, as you can probably tell by my breath. Anyway, I had a little experiment I wanted to do. I've got some projects coming up that I need to mix up some shellac for, and if you've ever mixed shellac from flakes, you know that generally people say, well, just use denatured alcohol and that'll work. But in doing some research, I found that there are people that prefer some sort of a grain alcohol like Everclear or something to mix that with. So I'm just going to do a test and see which one I like better. I've got denatured alcohol and I've got Everclear. Obviously not a very big bottle, so not going to be a very big batch. I wanted to see what I thought of it before I got a bigger quantity. Once this is mixed up and ready to go, I've got this piece of bird's eye hard maple that I'm going to sand, get it all prepped, and apply it to, and see which one feels better, looks better. Just trying to see where the differences are, if any. I don't know if there will be. I've never tried this before. Most of the time I just buy pre-mixed shellac, so it's going to be an experiment. To do this, I'm going to use some garnet BT&C shellac. No particular reason for picking a darker shellac. I just wanted to see what it would look like, and since I'm putting this on bird's eye maple, you know, it's got some of that, there's a little bit of quilting going on in this board, so it might look cool. I don't know, we'll see. So to help the shellac dissolve a little more quickly, I like to just run it through a coffee grinder. It doesn't get used for anything else. I don't use this one for my spices when I'm cooking. It's dedicated to the shop just for shellac. And one thing I'm not sure about is how much measured shellac I'm really going to need for this, because I can't find my digital scale. So I'm just going to go ahead and prep, I don't know, a few teaspoons of shellac flake, grind it to shellac powder. To keep it simple, I'm just going to use these little mason jars. Each one is going to get 4 ounces of the solvent, so either the Everclear or the denatured alcohol. To that, I'm going to try adding probably 2 or 3 teaspoons of shellac. Alright, now we've got a pretty fine shellac powder. Alright, this one's going to be the Everclear, this will be the denatured alcohol. Okay, they've both got 2 teaspoons. Okay, there's the Everclear mixture. Alright, now the denatured alcohol. Alright, so we've got the Everclear on the left, denatured alcohol on the right. So I will let this sit until those fully dissolve, and then we'll test them out on the maple. Alright, so here I've got a piece of hard maple with some bird's eye and just a little bit of curl. I've sanded this up to 220. This is the shellac dissolved in Everclear, and this is the shellac dissolved in denatured alcohol. They've both dissolved and kind of mixed up about the same. So now we're going to try them out and see if I can tell any difference in the application as far as how it feels, how it goes on, how it looks, those types of things. And to try to keep this as, I don't want to call it scientific, but to try to get as clean of a comparison as I can, I'm also going to use separate cloths to apply this with. Since denatured is all I've ever used before, that's what I'm going to start with. Nice and smooth. While that dries, I will go ahead and switch over to the Everclear. Nice light coat there. Let that sit and dry for a few minutes, and we'll try to do a few more coats and see how it looks. Okay, so here we are, probably 15 or 20 coats later. So this did end up being a very, very light cut. I'm guessing half a pound or less. Everclear on the left, denatured alcohol on the right. And if I move that back and forth a little, you should be able to see there's some really cool shimmery chatoyance going on there. This was a garnet shellac, like I said, so the places that were hit with finish are obviously quite a bit more colored than just the plain sanded maple. In terms of the finish quality, I think they're about the same. I really don't see any difference at all. There's only two differences that I noticed, and this may have something to do with the temperature of my shop, because even with my little propane heater going, it's only like 35 degrees in here. Maybe 40, almost 40 degrees. Anyway, the two differences that I saw were the denatured alcohol, by its appearance, seemed to flash off a little bit quicker than the Everclear, which kind of surprised me, because the denatured alcohol potentially has a little bit of water in it, so I don't know. Not sure that really matters, because it really wasn't a very big difference. The other thing, and this is a little more, I don't know, this is harder to quantify, but using the shellac that had been dissolved in Everclear, as I was using the pad to go over this and apply more coats, it felt a little more smooth, less grabby, and this side was getting, so with each successive coat, the denatured alcohol was first, Everclear second, so there really shouldn't be any difference in terms of how dry one side is over the other between coats, because you do one, you do the other, you wait a minute, come back, do this one, so they should be about the same, but the Everclear side did feel a little bit smoother going on. I was also kind of practicing some French polishing techniques here. Obviously, I've got a long ways to go. That's for an upcoming commission that I am working on. Like I said, in terms of quality, I don't really see a difference, not to my eye anyway. If this were an actual real project that I was going to try to get out the door, it would still have several coats to go as part of this experiment in French polishing. So really, in terms of quality, I don't think it matters which solvent you use, whether you go with the Everclear or the denatured alcohol. Personally, I think I may stick with the Everclear for two reasons. One, because it did feel like it applied a little smoother, and two, it's just funny seeing the reaction of the clerk at the liquor store when I say I'm using this to make shellac to finish furniture. When I bought the little bottle of Everclear to try this, the cashier had this look like, wait, you mean you're not gonna drink it? Sorry, bro. Nah, I don't drink. I'm just using it to test some finishes on wood. Anyway, that was funny. So there's some very unscientific results in a test between denatured alcohol and Everclear. I don't know if this is actually helpful, but it was kind of fun. And thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.